So, hello guys. So, today I would like to cover Tech Mahindra interview questions. So, my experience. So, that is like vacancy for the Money Stack developer. Right? You can see the mail like techmahindra.com that will got in 7 April 2025. Right? So, I have attended that interview. So, let's start with the question and answering part. Yeah, so here I open that, right? Big man, the total how much question they asked, right? What was the question? So basically, I would like to cover JavaScript and the Angular section, right? And they ask some note question, but today I like to cover only the JavaScript and Angular part. In the please follow and like subscribe my video channel so I create for Node.js also interview experience. So that was the separate video I make. So let's jump into the question, right? So very first question they ask the JavaScript question, right? You can see here what was that, right? So let x is equal to 10, let y is equal to 20, and console.log so y greater than x and ternary operator, right? So what was the output for that? So here you can see right, x greater than and y condition, right? So x, what was the value of x is equal to 10, and what was the value of y is equal to 20, right? So that will be true, right? According to that condition, true, right? And since the condition is true, right, since the condition is true, right, so what ternary operator will do? So it will always return the first value, right? So what was the first value is that 10, right? So output is 10, right? If that condition is false, then it will return the second value, right? So that is very good question, and they that ask many interview, right? So output, what was the output is 10, right? Let's check in the JavaScript compiler, right? You can see the answer is true. So I explained the concept also, right? Because the condition is true, then it will return always the first value. If condition is false, let's say here is 30, right? So what was the output for in that case? It in that case is 20, right? You can see 20, right? So that is the basic concept you need to know. So let's jump into the second question. What was the second question? Uh, that is basically block scope of like var, let, and const, right? So what was that? So you can see var a is equal to 2, right? Var function scope is not a block scope, right? So you not a block scope, right? So a available the outside of the block, right? That is the concept. And in that b case, so in the b case, right, b and c case both are the block scope, right? So that will not accessible outside of the block, right? It will access inside the block. So when you try to exit, you will get the reference error, right? So let's check with that. So you can see b is not defined, right? Not accessible. Reference error you get, right? If you b and c both case, you get reference error. Only a case, if you console only a, right, so you got the output, right, one. Because in var case it is accessible for outside of the class, right? So let's jump into the third question. So if you have any doubt, right, you can ask in that below comment. So what was the next question? This is test function, right? So that is basically a concept of the hosting behavior, right? So var variable are hosted move to the top of their scope but initialize with the undefined, right? So and let and const are hosted too, but keep in the temporary dead zone until the declaration is executed. Right, that is the concept. So what was the output for that? A. So you can see A is exit, right? But the value is undefined because of the hosting. And B and C is not rich since you did not log a declaration, right? So no here error here. So it will output was the undefined. Let's check, right? You can see output is undefined. Let's jump into the fourth question. So fourth question is very good question, right? So you might know due to hosting and plus temporary so you might think it should be print as a 5, right? Because of the blue, but inside the if function, because it is if function, right? Inside a new, so there is new declaration due to hosting and temporarily dead zone, right? JS know that a exit inside the function scope, but it has not initialized at, right, comes to the long. So it will so the a has, right, shadow by the local one, right? So a access before the initialization, right? So you will got here access reference error, right? So let's check with that. So you will get reference error, right? Cannot access a before initialization. Cannot access before init initialization. Right? Let's check. Right? You can see reference error cannot access before the initialization, right? You know the concept, right? Because a use might think it will print as a global, right? But it not, but inside the if function there is a new declaration here, right? A, right? So because of that it has, and before declaration you print that value, right? So it cannot be accessed, right? So let's jump into the fifth question. So what was the fifth question? Similar console dot type of x hello, right? So normally type is safe, right? Undeclared variable, something written undefined. So same you got here also, right? Cannot access before declaration, right? So let's check. Right? Type of cannot access before the declaration, right? The same concept here, right? Because that is temporarily dead zone. Let's go to sixth question. So so you can see Here declare outer of the scope, right? Outer block declaration, right? Inner block declaration has 20, right? So shadow of the outer block. Due to this rule, like inner block rule, hosting rule, right? JS let exit, but it is uninitialized until the declaration line, right? When you do console.log, right, inner before block before the x, right, still it will in the temporary dead zone, right? So the outer of x is not considered because inner one is shadow it, right? So it will also you get same error, right? Reference error cannot be accessed. If you run that, right, you can see x cannot be accessed in a slice. And let's go for the next question. So next question, what was the next question? So x is equal to 5 and there is parameter you can pass it. So explanation is that here the default parameter as evaluated left to right, right? So first parameter x is equal to y, but y is not initialized at in still in TDT temporary dead zone, right? So they JS try to access y before the get value, so you will get a reference error here also, right? So reason is that default parameter evaluated left to right, right? Left to right, right? So x is equal to y here you can see, but y is not in a slice, right? Here it will compare here is not in a slice, right? So it will not, cannot be accessed, right? So you can get same the reference error y reference cannot access y before initialization, right? If you print, you can see reference error cannot access y before initialization, right? So let's jump into the next question. What was the output for that? So you understand that concept, right? Same thing, temporary dead zone, right? Why ARJS? So at the glance of the first, my you will think the set time out run later, but value of the 42 should be inside, but it is wrong, right? The error happened right schedule time, right? Just scan the block, see the const and host it put in the temporary jet until the initialize, right? So when you create the closer set timeout, it will try to capture the value, but since you it will temporary date zone, so same error you got, right? Reference error, access reference error, you got this output. Reference error you got here is value. You check, right? Okay. Let's check into reference in its access value because const in the late case it will 1 second. Hmm. In the const case. Okay. Console.log value is that because it will print as a inside the block scope, so you got the value. Let's go for that question. Next question. So here, what was that? Console. So here, what was that? Var has hosted initialize as a undefined, right? And A cannot be accessed in the first console. It will print as undefined, and the second would be reference error. A cannot be accessed, cannot before initialization. Right? Let's check. You can see undefined and reference error cannot be accessed. Let's go for the 10th question. So this is very good question that will ask many interview. Right? You can prepare this kind of question. So start an async demo right inside that. So what was the output for that? First start will print, right? And again you can see the console.log, right? So start log first, right? Demo, then demo will call, right? Inside the sync function, log immediately call, right? So after first log start and async inside async, right? And await promise resolve executed, pass the rest of the schedule in the micro task queue and the end, and then after await, right? So what was the output for that? First start will print, and after that inside this console print, after that after that this one, after that in, and after that after await. So let's, you can see start inside the sync, end and after await. So that is the concept. So 11 question they ask. So what was the output for that? Right. So it will, because it will take as an empty array, right? So length was 3, eh, 3, and second A. So that is not here. So undefined and B. So undefined. In that case, A in RR. Right? So what was the value? False. Right? Check if the exists, it will not exit A, right? Index of A. So it will give you false. Index, because index of A is not defined. So that is the output. Right? So three undefined and false, right? You know, understand that point, right? So 12th question they ask mutate during the iteration, right? How you mutate during the iteration. So for that, numbers dot for each loop, right? And then num comma I if I equal to 0, then numbers dot shift, otherwise. So how you do mutation like that? 1, 3, and 4, right? So num1 callback inside the function, iterate to now pick the number as 4, right? 1, 3. Because of the shift, all the elements shift left and original to move into the 0 index, right? So it will skip the iteration, right? So that is the way to do like mutation during the iteration. And rest of the question is Angular section, right? You can I can like I put that link, you can download that Angular question like section like question. So JavaScript section I explained you can see they ask what was the RxJS subject behavior, right? So here I explain you the how you do, right? And what was the execution order of the observable, right? They may ask this kind of selected behavior, this kind of question they ask, right? And the effect displays multiple action. So this kind of question they ask. So I put that question, you can download that question, right? And you can prepare according to that. Okay, thank you. And let's discuss with little bit about my website. So you can okay, I go to open that website first. Okay. So you can access with com, right? Here you can see you can download all the portion, right? Interview portion, right? You can see the JavaScript you can download here, right? So new section I introduce here, right? You can attempt multi this topic like GNI related that will created by industry expert, right? You can get more than like of 600 question, right? So you can check with that is all the certification level of the question. If you like prepare with the concept, you can like easily crack any certification, right? Angular section 500 question and Gen AI React advanced question, right? You can check advanced question. You can easily access free of course, right? Azure Cloud, if you do a certification 700 question, that is real time question, right? You can prepare, right? So that is AWS question, right? So you can 743. So that level of question, if you attempt that quiz, right? You can see, right? If you will click, so after the end of the result, right, it will show you the one correct question and one wrong question. So you can give the practice exam as many times you want. So that is the uh, thing, right? I discuss you. You can use that, and you can also download all the content right here, like JavaScript. My previous video, you can access my video here. Right? You can see that I put all the question with the explanation. Right? You can easily download from there if you want. Right? So thank you guys. Please like and subscribe my channel and my effort, and please do follow and uh, check my every update and video. Right? So I'm going to start news Gen AI thing also, right, in the later in my video. So keep subscribe and hit bell icon so you will get notification of my next video.